Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today I am going to be talking to you a little bit about the teams that I haven't talked about yet in my two videos. So one video I was talking about the East, one about the West, and both were dealing with the teams that are currently trying for a playoff spot and what they need to succeed. And now I'm going to be talking about the 11 teams, because I miscounted, the teams that I haven't talked about yet, but that's because they're probably not going to make it in. And yeah, so let's talk about them. So starting off with the team that might have a little bit of a chance, they have an edge, they have an opportunity to make it into the playoffs at this point. The Florida Panthers, last season, the President's Trophy winners, are currently sitting at 22nd in the league. I'm sure there's probably been a worse decrease season to season, but that's pretty bad. I mean, that's as worse as I've remembered it in recent history. From President's Trophy, setting a record in comeback victories, having super goal scoring, to this. Now, of course, one problem and one thing to deal with that is they decided to trade Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau for some reason. I'm sure you already know and you already have your opinion about it. Makes no sense to me either. I get the 1-for-1 like Huberdeau for Tkachuk, but why'd they throw in Weegar? I'm sure it's because that's what the Flames, it was probably one of those times where the Flames was like, how about Weegar? And they were like, okay, let's do it. And they were like, what? So, strange that they did that, and I think that's really hurting them. Defensively, they don't really have any hard hitters. Aaron Ekblad is not being the Ekblad from last season. Right now, their best guy is Brandon Montour, who is actually pretty good among defensemen in the NHL right now. But still, this defense needs help. So it's strange that they threw him in there. Matthew Tkachuk, looking at the trade, though, I will say he does have more points combined than those two guys they traded away, but that's neither here nor there, really. So offensively, I think they're kind of okay. Defensively, not so much. Goaltending-wise, Spencer Knight, I think could be better, but I don't really know. But this team, I think they just need to not panic. This is not the type of team that you need to blow up. I think you just need to sit down, calm down, don't panic, and this is the perfect team to bring in a guy like Timo Meier. He's an RFA at the end of this season. You bring him in, bring him in early, like now, like today. Bring him in and try to go for that playoff spot, because you're only 65 points or so out of the playoffs. So just go, try to pick him up, re-sign him to a long contract. You got a superstar young guy who's going to get you. This guy could score 40 points. He recorded the fastest speed of any player last season. Timo Meier is incredible. You bring in a young guy who's going to be there for a while and keep calm. And another guy who is a Sharks guy as well, a guy like EK65. I saw a trade proposal online where it was for Carlson for Bobrovsky, goaltender for him. And then the Panthers, a contending team, will have a guy who's paid money that will be a contender. And for a longer time, the Sharks will get a guy who's paid less, and they're not contending right now, to get rid of some of that money as well. So I personally think that'd be a fair trade. The Panthers get to use $10 million, well, I guess 11.5, but in a useful spot that they don't need it now. So that's just an interesting proposal there. But they don't need to panic, and I think just keep it all bearing in. And a guy like Meier, perfect landing spot for the Panthers. Moving on to the Red Wings. You're young. I think you just need to find some veterans and trade at the deadline for picks. This team, Stevie Y, just fantastic what he can do with teams. And what he's doing is just amazing. I mean, this team's already stacked with prospects. I don't even know how he does this, but he has it. He has all of these young guys that aren't even on the team, like Evanson right now. So many young guys that are going to pop up on this team eventually and become superstars. And I think right now they need to not do what the Devils did, and a team like the Canadians down here, is that those young guys don't have anyone to grow off of. And I like that they brought in guys like Perron, but that's not who they need. I think this would have been a good team for a Claude Giroux, a real veteran who's going to play hard, and he can pass the puck to guys, and he can play well and bring them to a higher level. So I think the Red Wings bring in some older guys to come into the lineup. Maybe a guy like a Jonathan Toews this offseason. Who knows? Something like that. Just like a centerman who's going to be in the middle of guys like, I don't know, Soderblom and whoever, and just help those guys grow to a higher level. But then I also think, I mean, this is a perfect spot for them. What would they get? Like the 10th overall pick? If they could maybe trade and get another first round pick, and who knows, maybe for a team like Florida, maybe get 2 in a row. That would be fantastic. Just keep bringing those young guys, and eventually they're all going to pop off one day. So I think they just need to trade for some picks in this offseason, bring in some veterans to help grow those younger guys and bring them higher up. Moving on to the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Senators, at least you're getting a decent pick this year because your team is young. Your team's young. They're already starting to grow. I mean, I can go on. This whole team is a whole list of young guys that are going to grow and become a superstar team. So that is not what you need. You're going to get a decent pick this year. Right now, you're at number 9. Who knows? Maybe you go down a couple more. You could get number 7 or so, right? So right now at number 9, good pick for you this season. Those guys are all going to grow, and you're going to add one more nice piece to your collection. And I think the one thing you need to bring to this team is a young goaltender. Maybe that's what you do with your pick. You do like an Ottinger deal where you see that one superstar young goaltender and bring him in. Because offensively, you're fine. I would say probably pick up a defenseman pick. But goaltending-wise, I'm sure you can find someone out there, maybe like an Urson from the Flyers, who are next. So the Philadelphia Flyers, you need more prospects. This is one of those teams that I see a long, dark demise for right now, like the Sharks, is that this team, they don't have any young guys coming up like the Red Wings, like the Senators here. They don't have those young guys coming up that are replacing them, and they just haven't hit their stride like the Devils finally have. That's not what they have. They just have a mixed match of, like, not real prospects anymore, like Owen Tippett anymore. They're like 24. They're not growing. They're not going to be who they might have once thought they were going to be. And they also don't have any superstar old guys. So right now I'm thinking maybe get rid of JVR and pick up a pick. I don't know what type of pick, what he could go for. He's only got 16 points. But trade out JVR, bring in someone else. And maybe, just maybe, this team, the way it is now, is not going to be a playoff team this year, won't be next year, won't be the year after. You need some draft picks. So I say maybe you trade out a guy like Kevin Hayes. And I know it might sound crazy, but send him out and bring in from, let's say, who knows, like Colorado. You trade Kevin Hayes. This is just a random thing. Don't mean this literally, but a guy like, I don't know, Alex Newhook or something, you know? A young guy who is going to grow, and you trade the Avalanche, a guy who's already proven in Kevin Hayes. He's a big guy, big center, can replace, what's his name, on the second line, Kadri. And it kind of works out there. So just an idea, not real trade suggestion, but just an idea that I came up with. Moving on to the Vancouver Canucks. This team is a train wreck. I don't know what to do with this team. I say you either blow it up, because here's the difference between them and I compare them to the Flames, is that the Flames for years, I said they finally need to blow everything up because this core of Tkachuk, Gaudreau, and Lindholm is just not going to work. You need to change it up like the Maple Leafs should do for the playoffs, but whatever. But the Canucks, they haven't even gotten to try in the playoffs. They had the bubble year, sure. But other than that, they haven't even gotten to try to prove themselves. So for the Canucks, I think you blow it up, get rid of guys like Pettersson, get rid of guys like Besser and Horvat, and just start over. Because this team clearly is not ready to win. This is just not a winning team. It just isn't. This is not a winning, contending team. Guys like Besser I really like the idea of Brock Besser at the beginning, but he's clearly not going to grow into that number 1 goal scorer. Get rid of him. Maybe he'll produce on a team like Florida. Who knows? Maybe that would be a good spot for Besser. So, I don't know. This team just clearly is not going to be that winning team with all those prospects, because your time to win is now, and you just aren't. So restart, reset, I say blow it all up, or go all in. Instead, trade your draft picks away. Maybe Besser just isn't, I don't even know. You either do one or the other. You either blow it all up, or go all in and bring in just crazy picks, like trade for John Klingberg, trade in for David Perron. So, I don't know. I don't know. This team is just doesn't make sense. The Montreal Canadiens, you're getting ready for your future, right? This team is not winning now, and they're not meant to be. But they have the pieces. They got Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky. They even had the one pick. I mean, they even got their young guys on the team now, like Caden Goulet and Arbor is it Jacka? I think it is. So you're getting those pieces together. You just need to just let them develop and finally grow. So I would say this is the type of team that should get some veterans to try to lift those guys up a little bit. And it'll be nice because you're going to get another nice draft pick this year too. So good job, I guess. You're doing okay. You're doing fine. Good job. Moving on to the San Jose Sharks. If long as you get the right price for guys like Erik Karlsson and Timo Meier, get rid of them. But don't just throw them away. Guys like Erik Karlsson, I don't really know what you could do, but trade him to a team where you're going to get some nice draft picks or some nice young talent. Maybe a team like Winnipeg, which I know, crazy idea, but bring in some guys like a Cole Perfetti and like a... Didn't they draft Brad Lambert or something? Something like that. Bring in some young prospects and maybe a first-round pick, because that's what you need. Draft prospects and picks. And I don't say guys like Logan Couture or guys like Hurdle. You don't need to trade guys away like that, because those are the older guys that are going to lift those guys up, because you can pay them their money for now, and then eventually in a few years when Couture's contract ends, when those young guys are finally going to prosper, it'll be the perfect timing. So for one, the Sharks, they are in a very bad place right now, but in the future, their contracts are going to finally come off the books as those young guys are hitting their stride. So you already got a guy like Eklund in the lineup. Just keep adding more of those guys and trade away Karlsson and Meier for the right price. Because it would be a shame. I love Timo Meier. He's my favorite Shark. But it would be a shame if, well, Karlsson is, but I think Karlsson's probably getting moved out. But Meier, it would be a shame to see him stuck on a team like this and not winning Stanley Cups like he probably should. Moving on to the Arizona Coyotes. Just keep tanking, right? This team right now, not going to win today, not going to win tomorrow, not going to win next year, right? Just keep adding picks. Tank, tank, tank. Get rid of them. Trade Gostisbehere. Trade Gostisbehere to, you know what? I have a feeling that for some reason I don't know. Gostisbehere would be great for the Florida Panthers. Get the Panthers first round pick. Oh, you got Jacob Chikrin? Great. Trade him to, you know what? The Canucks decide to go all in. Trade Chikrin to the Canucks, and maybe they get into a wild card spot. Who the hell knows? But get those first-round picks. Trade away those top defensemen guys. Don't get rid of guys like Clayton Keller. Keller is your guy. You can't get rid of the guy of your team. So keep Keller, but trade those two guys away, maybe even more, and just keep the young guys on the team, unlike a team that I'm about to get to. But just tank, 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 keep going, try to get that third overall, maybe even second overall pick. I know you need to try to win for Mullet or Arena, but just let go. The Anaheim Ducks, right now I think you're in a great position. I think that where you are right now, you have the pieces coming together. You also have some older guys like Henrique that are lifting up guys like Zegras, and I think you're doing great. So I think this is a great, fantastic year. Final terrible season for you. For this season to get a third, maybe even a fourth overall pick, maybe even drop to a second overall. Maybe you even get the final first pick. Who knows? I mean, the lottery could even get you the first pick wherever you are. So I don't know what you're going to do, but this is a good way for you to get one of those top picks. Bring in a guy like, what is his name? Like Fantilli, whatever that guy's name is. Fusilli Jerry, whatever his name was. Bring him in, and you add him to this already superstar growing team, and maybe just add some more pieces this offseason, because I think this is your last miserable year. Next year, go for a wild card spot. And now we've got the last two teams, the Columbus Blue Jacket at 31st. Add another piece this draft, because I don't even know. This is a young team. This is the youngest team in the NHL. So, well, average-wise. And just keep adding those pieces. And I think you got to add some veterans, especially defensively. Because this team, I thought, was going to be way better, but obviously not. And I think it's just because they're so young, and it's the same factor where they need those veteran guys to bolster the younger guys. So this offseason, add some defense. You already have Merzlikins in net, who can be a good goaltender. Offensively, I think you're fine. I think your young guys just need to finally sprout. And yeah, so I would say defensemen and maybe like one or two forward veterans. I don't know who. Guys like Jonathan Toews, I think, would be perfect. And then moving on to Jonathan Toews' team is the Chicago Blackhawks. This team is just awful. I don't know what the hell they were thinking this offseason. I don't know why they traded away Doc and DeBrincat. Why couldn't they have done the same thing, but instead with Taze and Kane? Because then you get rid of those guys, and then this offseason you're going to be terrible anyways if you still have Doc and DeBrincat. So if you're already going to be bad, trade away Seth Jones as well, I guess, and then hope that your team's so bad you get Connor Bedard, and then he has already those young guys who are finally... Because the thing about DeBrincat is that, like how I say with all these other teams that need those veteran guys to bolster them, he got that in Kane, and now he's already at that superstar status. Well, now he's not on the team, so it's whatever. But you know what I'm trying to say. He hit that superstar status already, and he's like, what, 26, 5, maybe even something like that. 7? I don't know. But that is what this team needs. They need that. That's what they needed, but they did the opposite. So now Kane's contract and Taze's contract ends this year. So it's not like Taze and Kane are going to be there to grow Connor Bedard if they even get him. So it is just a strange thing. This team, they have really put themselves into quite a hole. That's all I got to say. So that's all I have to say about the 11 bottom teams of the NHL and what they need to do. So I guess if you like this video, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down to the comment section and tell me how stupid I am. And everything I had to say, tell me just how stupid I am. So tell me all that down below. And until next time, I have been your too sweetly dressed host, Owen. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.